Now I'll show you how to put together a real quick and easy mace and club bell. So the club bells, this is nothing but a wiffle ball bat, kid's wiffle ball bat that you can pick up in your retail store for about $5. And what I have done is drill a hole in the end of it using a hole saw bit. This one is 1 inch in diameter, and of course you just drill the hole right through there, and afterward take your funnel, put it in there, and begin to fill it with sand. And as you go along, just kind of tap it and begin working your way to filling it up. A full bat of sand will weigh somewhere around 11 or 12 pounds. If you need it to be heavier, then you can add some lead weight, some lead shot or something like that. If you need it to be lighter, fill it with something like rice or beans, dried beans, something like that. And I'm not sure how much that will come in weighing, but it will be a little bit lighter than this. Another way I have seen on YouTube of making this is by using pipe. You can begin to put all, using different reducers and things, put some pipe together. And it'll be a little bit smaller and it'll be lighter. I think they said it weighs about 9 pounds, but that one will cost you, I think he said on his video, about $25. This costs you about $5, and it is a little bit more bulky. It is a little bit heavier. You can reduce the weight, but it gets the job done and it's very simple. Okay, so after you fill the bat with sand, to close it up, you just simply take your duct tape. I did one strap this way, one strap that way, and then began wrapping my tape all around the end to hold it down nice and secure. Easy enough to take off, fill with more sand, or make it heavier, make it lighter, something of that nature. And then the handle, I wrapped tape around it also because they have small holes in the bottom of the handle and sand will leak out. And then I took regular old hockey tape and wrapped it around the handle to give it a little bit more grip. You really wouldn't want to go much heavier than this 12 pounds with a plastic bat of this type. I suppose an option, well, the reason is because once it begins to get so heavy, this area right in here begins to weaken and it could fold over on you or something like that. Not like you're out much money, you're only out $5, but one thing that I tried to compensate for it was to take my duct tape and wrap it all the way up to maybe reinforce it just a little bit. I haven't had any problems with it. They swing very nice, and they will do the trick for you. So that is my homemade version of the club bell. The mace, or the gata as it's sometimes called, this is my version of it. Homemade, not a homemade bowling ball, but bowling ball that I picked up at the thrift store for $1. Our thrift store sells any bowling ball they get in for $1. I've heard people say that you can pick them up at a bowling alley. They throw some away and things like that, and you can pick them up. They'll give them to you for free. My bowling alley, somewhere right here, any of the ones that are close to me, don't do that. The only time they throw a bowling ball away is when it's completely busted. So that does me no good. Fortunately, I found the thrift store that whenever they get them in, sells them for $1. Yours may sell them for a little bit more. Doesn't matter. So I brought it home. Bowling balls are made of resin. I picked myself up a 1 inch paddle bit. Also, 3/4 inch, 4 foot long iron pipe. If you choose to go with iron pipe, it is cheaper than galvanized, but you'll need to keep it indoors because it will rust on you. You may not be concerned with rust, so that you can leave it outside. Purely your choice, but just know that if you buy iron pipe, that it will rust on you. It is threaded. The one that I bought was threaded on both ends. I've covered it up, but I bought a cap, and then as you can see for the handle, I went with some duct tape all around and then back with my hockey tape to give me a little bit more grip. 3/4 inch, is okay for right here, but whenever the time comes that you build up enough grip strength, because this is a very, very solid grip strength workout, you can use a smaller length pipe and then use a coupler or a reducer and then make yourself a much fatter handle right here. You can, I don't know what size you'd want to go up to. You can go up to 1 inch, 1.5, or whatever other size that you would be comfortable with. So to make it, very simple. Take your 1 inch drill bit. I started with the thumb hole, as you can see, and then I just began to drill, and I drilled down just that far. I don't know if you can see it, but it's only about that far down in there. Maybe it reaches the middle of the center of the ball. After that, the 1 inch drill bit mixed with the 3/4 inch pipe does not, the pipe will not fit down in there without having to screw it down in. So this resin forms itself around it, and you begin to have a pretty solid grip inside the ball. I have seen other homemade versions where they drill completely through the ball, and then they fill, and then they run this pipe through it and put a cap on the other end, and then they add another piece here. That starts to get a little bit more expensive, and I have found that it's not really necessary. I've been using this ball for several months now, and it has been a very solid tool. No problems at all. You can see it begins to get much tighter. As it gets tighter, grab your channel locks, get a good clamp down, and just begin to continue screwing it in. If you want a little bit more security for your own peace of mind, buy yourself some resin. Also at the hardware store, very inexpensive, $2 or $3 will be more than enough, and squeeze it down in there at the same time, and that will lock this pipe in place pretty solid. But as you can see, that, well, maybe you can't see it, but it's not going anywhere. It's very much in there comfortably enough for me. Another thing that I like about putting it in this way is you need to be aware that if you've never done this exercise before, that it is very, very strenuous on your shoulders, and if you don't perform it correctly, it can do some damage. Whenever I first got a hold of it, I thought, it's only 20 pounds, which is about what this comes in to weigh, a little bit over 20 pounds, maybe 21 or 22. And I came out into the yard and I began trying it, and you will quickly realize as soon as you put it in this position that this is a lot heavier than you remember 20 pounds being. So it's the leverage that you have that as you begin to swing this can cause damage to your shoulders if you don't have the proper form. So I would suggest, if you've never done this before, starting with a shorter pipe. Of course, the shorter the length, the less stress it's going to be, and it's not going to be as heavy whenever it begins that momentum. So you can start with an 18-inch pipe, 2 foot, 3 foot, on out to 4 foot. The ones that you buy for, I can't remember, they may be as much as $200. They're officially 4 feet long.